Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Debsy, and place to be, it's Debsy. Boop, that's me. Boop, Debsy. Hey guys, and happy, what day is it? Happy Tuesday. Wait, no. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, guys. I hope everybody is having a great day and a wonderful week. Listen, let's get right into it because there's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot of cussing. There's going to be a lot of raised voices. So let's get right into it. I watched it. I watched the 3-hour finale of The Bachelorette last night. And number one, this did not have to be 3 hours. I think we can all agree on that. Okay, let's get right into it because it's the last two guys were there. It was Marcus, it was Devin. They were both meeting. They were meeting all of Jen's family. I believe it was Jen's mom, aunt, big brother, James, and friend. So, okay, first up, we have, well, they're all talking. And I'm gonna tell you, I made notes, some of them printed up, some of them I just wrote. Because listen, last night at 10 o'clock, I switched over to laying in bed and just watching. I wasn't gonna write anything and I was mad. I was extremely mad and extremely animated. So let's get right into it. Okay, so Jen and her mom are talking ahead of this. And her mom says that she wants Jen to find a man who loves her. Well, listen, I made a note saying, then count Marcus out. Little did I know. Okay, so Devin's up first. And he said something that I wrote this down because I thought it was odd that he said it this way. He said, they may see I'm not good enough. I think they knew. So he tells them, he's trying to tell them everything that they want to hear. He tells them that family is very important to him. But listen, from the very beginning, I don't know that they were that into him. Like the mom and the aunt kind of seem to like him a little bit because they share maybe like the same background of like he didn't have a father and she really didn't have a father figure growing up. And then he's like, hey, listen, I would like to have your blessing. Can I get that? And they're like, no, we really want you to have a little bit of a longer relationship. So, listen, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong about the mother not liking him. Her mom wants them to get to know each other and thinks that this is just going all too fast. I don't care who it is, whether it's Devin or Marcus. In her culture, things like this don't happen. So, and then, wait a minute. Do I have, okay. So the mom and Jen are talking and she was like, I don't know if, I feel like Jen was trying to get brownie points for Devin and was like, and did you know that he wants to teach our kids Vietnamese? Did he really? I don't think that's the case at all. So then they go back into like the live studio audience. Dylan, Jonathan, Jeremy, and Hakeem are there. Now, Jonathan says he has heard things had happened. He's there to support Jen. Jeremy says that he heard things happen. He's there to support Jen, but also Devin and Marcus. Listen, he was there to support Devin and Marcus. He was there to support Devin. Listen, at the end of this, going into this, I thought Jeremy was a real nice guy. I think Jeremy's a dick. You did good by eliminating him. I don't care what anybody has to say. Listen, we'll get to that later. Like I said, Hakeem is there for Jen as well. He heard rumblings and that shit has happened. So Jen's talking to her brother about Devin. He's not so sure about him, but he sees how happy he makes his little sister, so he's willing to stand by her decision. So Devin then talks to James, talks to the brother, and he's like, hey, can I, if I want to ask her to marry me, can I get your blessing? And he's like, no, I can't give it. Now, in the editing, it made it sound like he was saying, no, I can't give it because I don't like you. He basically said, I can't give it to you because I haven't met the other guy yet. But I really like that you had asked. He didn't say that stand up, but I like that. Okay. Opinion. And this is what I wrote. I don't think that they would go for either one of these guys just because of how the mother is not going to go for either one of these guys just because how she's going about finding love. It just doesn't happen in their culture. That's what I think. I don't think the mother would like either one of these. I have to tell you, I love her brother because he's doing what he needs to do to try to protect his sister. He's just not giving out. He's not just talking to him for 5 minutes and then being like, yeah, I will give my blessing. That's exactly what I think. I really liked him. And there was a part of me that thought maybe that the brother did like Devin. They find out a little bit more about Marcus. And the brother is worried about Marcus not being in love with Jen just because Jen has been in relationships in the past with men who were emotionally unavailable and it didn't work out. So here comes Marcus. Marcus is next. I will say, I did like the fact that Marcus decided to cover up with pants as opposed to Devin in the short shorts, kind of almost like freeballing it in front of the mom and showing off half of his hairy ass chest. I like that Marcus wore pants at least. So Marcus visits them, has a sit down. He's trying to really say like all the right things. And I was even like, I mean, of course he's going to talk about how he was in the military, you know. I was like, but is he really kind of throwing this in like, I know I don't love your daughter yet, but I fought for the country and this and that. So he was trying to say all the right things. But listen, I've heard some things on social media about him. Allegedly, I don't know if they're true or not. Allegedly, he was abusive to at least one of his exes. I don't know. That's what I heard. So when I've heard these things and now it's kind of shaped the way I view him a little bit. So James talks to Marcus a little bit, talking and everything. He's talking about how his time in the military has shut him off to like being open for love. Okay. And the brother does seem concerned that like Jen's in love, but he's not sure how long Jen is going to have to like wait for Marcus to come around to be in love. It's not looking great whenever the mom and the dad or the mom and the aunt are talking to Marcus and asking if he loves Jen. And instead of him being like, I do, I care deeply for your daughter, he's like, I can get there. Okay. And she's like, are you ready for so it sounds to me like you're not ready for an engagement. And he's like, yeah, no, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe later, deuces, I will be, but I don't think right now. So Jen then talks to her brother, and he tells her, hey, listen, Marcus is the same kind of dude that you've dated in the past. He's emotionally unavailable. How long are you willing to wait for him to get to where you're at and then be able to start a life? Because TikTok, this isn't looking good. So Jen and Marcus talk like right after that on the bench. You know how they always have a bench. And she asks him, hey, where are you at in relationship to this? And he's like, listen, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of stress and pressure that I put on myself to have a family. He's trying. He's like, I'm trying because I feel like it's possible with you. He talks, but he doesn't give a lot of answers. She's really confused. So she's leaving. Is she leaving or is he leaving? He's leaving. And she says, I love you. And then he says, I know. Once again, I love you. I know. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So we know what's going to happen here. So brother James is in the audience, and he's not happy about how things ended. He's like, they talked to him, and he's like, I am not happy with how things ended. I'm like, great. Okay. So the final date with Devin, what she's worried about is she's worried about him sabotaging this. He's worried because after meeting the family, they're not falling all over him, you know, saying how much they love him, and they didn't give the blessing. I was just thinking about that part. I laughed because I was thinking about that part in Christmas Vacation where he goes, the blessing. You know which part I'm talking about, the blessing. Okay, so, and her fear going into this, listen to this, remember this, her fear is being abandoned. Her fear is being abandoned by him. And his fear is not being able to let go of the bad when he has something good in his life. So hanging on to all the bad things in his past. And listen, while this is going on, Jeremy and Jonathan are like talking. I wish they would mic them up so we could know what they're talking about. So during the date, they do this whole like thing with the spirituality and go and look for a rock and name it, what's your fear, and then throw it in the ocean, and then dunk yourselves, and then talk. I would rather just do something like go on a moonlight cruise rather than looking for rocks and dunking myself in water and throwing rocks. So he then ended up giving her like a necklace that came from the shaman during one of their dates in Auckland. Once again, I have written down, this did not have to be 3 hours. It certainly did not. So next they have the day date with Marcus. His uncertainty is making her stressed and uncertain also. So Jen goes over to meet with Marcus. Listen, there's no date. This is it. There's no date. He's conflicted about whether they can get to a point where he loves her. If that's the case, why are you still there? Why are you wasting her time? I don't understand this. Oh wait, no, not Jesse. No, I was right. Jesse meets up with Marcus. Oh God. So Jesse meets up with Marcus. He says he's conflicted about whether they can get to the point where he loves her. Well, first of all, like I said, if you don't already love her, then you shouldn't be there. And Jen, if he doesn't love you, he shouldn't be there. And then Jesse's like, well, are you in love with Jen and just scared to tell her? Or do you just not love her at all? And he's torn. He's torn between loving her or just liking her or not loving her. And to me, at one point, it was almost like Jesse was saying, because Jesse was like, if you love her, you got to tell her or you're going to lose her. At that point, it kind of made me think that Jesse was like, just tell her you love her. Listen, I think he was being pressured by everybody to just be like, just tell her that you love her. And he really didn't. I mean, Jesse has to notice. Jesse has to notice by now, because anytime they talk about love, I mean, he just looks pained. I don't know. I don't think he should have said, if you love her, tell her, because I don't know. I don't think he should lie. So Jen is on the warpath now. She's like, I'm gonna get some answers for Marcus. Once again, he don't get a date. They get to talk in his room. He doesn't get a date. Just cut him loose, Jen. He's never gonna get to where you're at. Just cut him loose. So she shows up. There's no kiss. There's no hug. It's just, we gotta talk. We're running out of time here, Marcus. Listen, she's getting conflicted messages between now and the fantasy suite. He just doesn't seem excited for the future. So what changed? Like the fantasy suite, during fantasy suite, he was all like, I can get there and I'm excited. And now you don't know. Now you're conflicted. So I have written, yeah, this is the end. He says it's not that he's not excited. He's just scared. He's not keeping anything from her. So she's like, okay, so she's just supposed to jump into this with him. And then hopefully one day he's just going to wake up and be in love and be excited about this. She says, listen, I'm tired of giving away pieces of myself to try and make a relationship work when the other person isn't doing the same. This comes back into play later. He says at the end of the day, he knows that he loves her and he doesn't want to give up on them. So when did he all of a sudden realize this? And when he said, I love you, it wasn't like this big profession, like, oh my God, I love you. It was a Sam M. Hail Mary pass at the end to try and save himself. That's what it was to me. I didn't believe this not at all. He dropped that L word so that she would keep him. That's what I think. In my opinion, neither one of these men are ready for a relationship. And they're certainly not ready to be on a dating show. Here's what you need. You need therapy. And do I think Jen definitely needs therapy? After that shit that went down yesterday, she definitely needs therapy. ABC should have to pay for that shit. ABC should have to pay for a lifetime of therapy for Jen. Absolutely. If she wants me to kick in $2.50 someplace, like $2.50, I will. Because that was just ridiculous. So once again, she says she's tired of investing in people who aren't investing in her. He's crying. He's afraid of losing her. And he's like, I fell in love with her, but he's afraid of telling her because she knows what she wants. And I don't know if I can live up to what she needs. Once again, see therapy. And this is something you need to work on. He needs to work on this before he gets into any relationship. Like, before you can get into a healthy relationship, you need to figure this out. And finally, she she's like, I'm sorry, but this is just it. We can't do this anymore. She knows that she needs a partner who can give as much as she gives in a relationship. And he really is torn up about it. And once again, get therapy. He needs to get therapy. So they bring Marcus out. Marcus talks a little bit, and he's like, and I will give him credit for saying this. I mean, this is how it needed to go instead of how he wanted it to go. Like he wanted her to keep him, and then he could work towards it. But she was like, no, I can't do that. Because what if it never works out? What if he never gets to the place where I'm at? And he sees that, listen, this is what had to happen. This needed to happen for both of us. And that was a mature way of handling it. So Jen comes out, they're talking. Everything is very cordial between the two of them. I wouldn't expect anything different, because he wasn't a dickhead like someone else that we'll talk about. So Jesse had asked, when did you know something was wrong? She said, well, I kind of knew deep down that something wasn't right with Marcus. But when Devin had come to her room and had talked about how much he loves her and how she hadn't said the L word to him, she realized that was something she wanted in her life, like somebody that was really like fighting for her and was there, and was fighting for her and was there for her and felt the same way that she did. Now listen, I'm gonna put this. Here's what my opinion was. We were all fooled and duped by Devin. At the time, I was so pissed that Marcus wasn't in love with her. But listen, at least Marcus was honest with her. Marcus wasn't coming out and professing love when he maybe wasn't there. And at the time in the past, I was like, well, what the hell? Why are you even here? Right. But at least he was honest about it. So the question was also, if Marcus would have said, I love you sooner, would you still have picked Devin? And she was like, yes, I would have still picked Devin, which, knowing what she knows now, she would have still picked Devin. Oh, she shouldn't have picked either one of them. She should have picked Jonathan. So, okay, we go back to the show. Devin's looking at the rings with Neil Lane. Don't he pick the ugliest ring? That ring looked as cheapy as cheap could be. He picked something that looked like it came out of a gumball machine. So she's talking to Jesse. She's like, I'm going to do things my way. And I even told my mom, I said, listen, if the big thing that never happened before that happens is that she proposes, that's stupid. That's as dumb can be. And she's like, I'm going to be proposing to him. So she's like, I choose him. I want him to know that I choose him. She's going to choose him, but in the future, he ain't going to choose her. Skipping ahead, but listen. So listen. Normally what they would do is they would play the proposal. ABC instead decides, no, we're not going to do that. Jesse was like, listen, some shit went down and we're going to get Jen out here. We're going to talk about it. So we're not going to play it right now. Okay? They bring Jen out. She's crying, and I immediately was like, oh shit, what happened? So she's crying. She says they got engaged in Hawaii, okay? They left Hawaii engaged, and then immediately things changed. Like, he was pulling away. He had 1 foot in the relationship, 1 foot out. He wasn't calling her as much as he was. He wasn't texting her as much. They planned on moving in together, or at least closer together. That fell apart, and with no explanation, absolutely no explanation whatsoever. So she said they had a plan for happy couple. I guess that's like counseling or something like that. And he called, he called her. He broke off the engagement over the phone. Over the phone, 15 minutes. It was a 15-minute fucking phone call. A 15-minute phone call. Told her he doesn't love her anymore. He denied loving her. And he didn't want to get engaged. That's it. From the man who was like, I can't live without you, and I need for you to tell me that you love me because I love you and I will always fight for you and I will always be there for you, to this, to now, denying ever being in love and not wanting to get engaged. So she's like, okay, listen, I understand the pressures of being on a show like this. Okay, listen, we'll take the engagement out of it. We can just be boyfriend and girlfriend. No, that wasn't what he wanted either. And she's like, I fought tooth and nail for this to work out. And he never did. And then, okay, so listen, by this point, wait. No. And then he had to, and then didn't he in the past have the damn nerve to say, I would never abandon her. I'm never going to abandon her, because that was her worst fear, was being abandoned. So he's like, I'm never going to abandon you. So what the hell changed? What changed? She had tried to see him. She had tried to talk. Nothing. He ghosted her. So they're like, we're going to bring Devin out. Okay. So they bring this asshole out. Everybody, it's either quiet or people were booing. I heard maybe one person clapping, and I was like, don't you dare clap for this son of a bitch. I'm going to tell you what. If I was there, I would have thrown my shoe or my phone or a table or chair or sofa at his head. Right at his head. So they bring this asshole out. And so they're talking. And then she says, I don't understand why you did what you did after the engagement. Right after he broke off the engagement, he goes on Instagram and he likes and he follows Maria. Maria, we all know Maria. Maria from The Bachelorette Joey season. The Maria that like half of America wanted to be the Bachelorette, and at least one person from this season, Sam M, was thinking that she was going to be the Bachelorette. So here's what I think. I'm thinking that Devin was hoping that the Bachelorette was going to be Maria. And then he sees that instead it's Jen. So he goes on. I don't think this was ever him wanting to find love. I think this was him wanting to win a reality competition TV show. I think he had ulterior motives. I don't think his motive for getting on that TV show was to find love. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I don't care if you think I'm wrong. That's what I think. I don't think he did this for the right reason at all. He was hoping Maria was going to be the Bachelorette, then got Jen and was like, well, this will just be a competition reality show. Then I'll win. We'll get off TV and then I'll just drop her. That's it. And he was like, she's like, I'm hurt. And he's like, I was hurt too. He was so hurt that right after he ended the engagement, he had to go out and follow somebody else and went out clubbing with Jeremy. And then they show Jeremy, and in Jeremy laughing and smiling, the fuck are you laughing and smiling about? See what I mean? I'm going from calling him Jer Bear to Jeremy. It's Jeremy. So, listen, Devin then says, am I not allowed to live a life? Fuck you. Yeah. You obviously weren't hurting then. If you could go out and start liking random women and just going out and partying at nightclubs in New York City. You weren't hurting that. You weren't hurting that bad. So he comes up and says, I had doubts on the show. Okay, so if you had doubts on the show, why didn't you tell her this on the show? But no, what you did was you waited for 2 months and then just dumped her. This is what you're doing. And he's like, I was honest with you. Or you were being honest. That was you being honest. He didn't tell her this shit. He didn't tell her how he was feeling. And then he comes out and he says, he comes out and doesn't he say, I'm sorry that I was regretfully late. Regretfully late. And then he smiles and smirks and laughs. Sitting there gaslighting her, making it seem like it's her fault because he's like, I couldn't live up to what you wanted, and I'm not trying to make it your fault. Damn right, it's not her fault. So, And then he says, how can I say I'm sorry? How can I say I'm sorry anymore? And then once again, smiled. So the only reason why she's there, wait a minute. So he says, well, the only reason why I came was to make sure that you're okay. Listen, you ghosted her. You don't give a shit if she's okay. Let's be honest. You're under contract. You had to show up. Plus, this will maybe show Maria that you're single. And not throwing any hate to Maria, because Maria didn't have nothing to do with this. But honestly, you wanted to get out on TV and you wanted to show people, especially Maria, how you're single. So hold up. Yeah. So he left because he felt he couldn't live up to her standards. And because he made her compromise. He made her compromise her, her life, what she wanted. So rather than talking to her about it, he just abandons her, which once again is the worst thing that could have happened to her because that's her fear. So, okay, all this is done. And then the worst part of this whole episode, the fact that, number one, we had to sit through 3 hours of this, but then ABC has the damn nerve to make Jen sit there alongside this asshole who broke her heart on national TV and watch this proposal. And Jesse was like, are you ready to watch it? She's like, no, but I mean, I don't have any choice. Right. It's in the contract. Probably you have to sit there and watch it. So they make her sit there and watch it, and not just sit there and watch it, but they have that little reaction thing in right there showing her crying and having a panic attack next to this asshole on national TV. That's a piece of shit. I'm going to tell you what, those producers, they don't know me from Adam's right nut, but I'm going to tell you this much. Fuck them. And those damn, listen, they should have to pay for her therapy copays for the rest of her damn life. That was cruel and unusual. Listen, I love reality TV shows, and I love the drama, but to me, that is not entertainment. Me watching a fellow human being crying and getting her heart broken and going through a mental episode, that's not my idea. That is not my idea of entertainment. I don't want to see that happen to anybody, okay? So, ABC, that wasn't it. That was terrible. Terrible. And after that, I kind of zoned out. I didn't hear anything. I didn't pay attention to anything they said to each other after that. After that, then they brought, I will say though, if I was her, I would have immediately went over to Jonathan and I would have planned the biggest ass kiss on him. I would have been like, are you still single? Let's go. Because I'm going to tell you who would not have done that. You know who would not have done that? Jonathan wouldn't have done that. And Grant would not have done that. And I don't think Spencer would have done that either. So there we go. And listen, I'm not saying Sam was a good person, because I didn't like Sam and I still didn't like Sam. But was Sam right? Sam was right. Sam was right about this. Once again, I'm not saying I like Sam, because I did not like Sam at all. Sam was not wrong. And Aaron wasn't wrong either. Did I like Aaron? Not really. Aaron wasn't wrong either. So there we go. And then they brought Joan out, and Kelsey's father was there. Listen, I hope they get together, because if not, then that might be a little awkward, them being in like the same studio audience. But so yeah, there we go. Tell me in the comments what you guys thought. I really, honestly, this season, I didn't think this season was the greatest season. However, the way that they did Jen was terrible. That was fucking horrible. And the worst part of it is she went into this season like knowing that a lot of America wanted Maria, and if not Maria, then Daisy. So then she goes into it knowing that like she's not the #1 choice. And then she hears that Sam was like, oh, it could have been, I thought it was going to be Maria or Daisy. And then she's already like, oh my God, nobody wants me to be here. And she felt insecure and like inferior and not good enough. And so then here's Devin breaking up with her and immediately going after Maria. Ugh. Tell me in the comments what you guys thought. This was a long video. I knew it was going to be a long video because I was going to film this downstairs, because I told Dolly, I told my mom, I'm going to film it downstairs because I'm going to be yelling. I'm going to be cussing. I'm going to be yelling a lot. I just couldn't help it. I just thought it was bullshit. I felt terrible. I felt so terrible. I felt so terrible for Jen. Heartbroken, and it was disgusting. So in the comments, let me know what you think. And if nobody told you yet today, I love you. You're loved, seen, and heard. Please make sure that you put love, kindness, compassion, acceptance, hope, and positivity out there in the world so it comes right back at you. Please take care of one another. Be aware of your surroundings. If you're someplace where it's super ass hot, please hydrate often with water. And if you're someplace where there's adverse weather or there's a dangerous situation, please be smart, be mindful, and be safe. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.